your wife hired a hitman, she wants to have you killed, and we gotta go fake your death right now.
What happens when the person you trust most starts gunning for you?
I just wanted to have my own family. I wanted to be a dad. That was one of my main goals out of life to achieve. Wow, she's beautiful. Anything that I could have ever wanted in a woman.
My brother had so many friends, and he stopped talking to all of them when he started dating her.
You know, I was intrigued at the fact that she was a cop.
But soon, law and order will give way to chaos.
John got the text and opened it up and said, "Oh my God, it's Isaiah. He's dead. It's done."
It's crazy. You tried to kill my son. You tried to kill somebody else's child.
I was working up in the detective squad in the 106. One day, Valerie came in. She was a patrol officer downstairs. And she sees a picture on my desk. And she turns around and goes, "Who's that?" I go, "It's my son." It's like, gosh, just hook a girl up.
26-year-old Valerie Cincinelli is a single mother making a name for herself with the NYPD.
My stepfather was like, okay, you know. He called me and he was like, hey, you know, there's this girl that I work with and she wants to get to know you. Initially, we were gonna go out, just me and her. She had a last-minute cancellation from a babysitter and couldn't get anybody. When I got there, she came outside and yeah, I was blown away. I was like, wow, she's beautiful. She brought me into the apartment and she was like, you're gonna meet my daughter. And I remember seeing Sophia and being like, wow, she's the most adorable little girl I've ever seen in my life. I thought, wow, maybe I can have a family of my own.
Over the next few months, Isaiah and Valerie become exclusive.
My friend Michelle just wrote, "Happy birthday, I love you," on Facebook or something, and Valerie freaked out on me, thought I was cheating on her. I was like, no, it's not even like that. She's my best friend's wife, and she didn't want to hear it, and she said it's either me or them.
My brother had so many friends, and he stopped talking to all of them when he started dating her.
Valerie ended up telling me that she wanted to get married and she wanted to have a life together. We're planning the wedding. We had a date set. It was gonna be like, I believe it was September. And then all of a sudden, she's like, hey, I'm pregnant. I was excited, nervous. I couldn't believe that I was gonna have a baby of my own.
The wedding is postponed as the couple prepare for the baby. They decide to call their new son Salvatore.
I ended up getting the phone call that she was ready to have the baby. And I rushed to the hospital. I got to share that moment with my son. And it changed my life forever.
I was so happy for him, my brother, first-time dad. Valerie was not having it. She didn't want anybody there. She didn't speak to anybody.
I was like, maybe she'll change. Maybe everything will be fine once we get home, get in the house, and get settled. Everything will be different. It got progressively worse. It was my mom's 50th birthday, and Valerie adamantly said to me, I don't want to go. She's like, you have a newborn, you should stay home. And I'm like, it's my mom's 50th birthday. And we were screaming and yelling, and I got frustrated and left the room, went downstairs into the basement. So that was the first instance that I had where she called the cops on me. They came into the house and come downstairs and look at me. And I'm like, why are you guys here? We were called to come here. Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. We had a disagreement. She was arguing with me. And they were like, well, why didn't you just stay downstairs on the couch tonight and let things blow over? And I was like, okay, well, I planned on doing that anyway.
Eventually, the couple moves on, continuing with their plans for a beach-themed wedding.
It was a beautiful day. I remember showing up and we were taking family photos, and Isaiah, he was, again, very excited, like glowing, so happy.
One of her uncles came up to me and told me, run. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And this is somebody in her family telling me this, and I still brushed it to the side and paid no mind to it.
Isaiah is initially successful in placating Valerie, but 3 years into his marriage, he realizes something is terribly wrong.
She started to disappear and always said she was working late or always said that she was stuck on a detail. Something in me told me that she's doing something. This is not normal. She has to be cheating on me. There has to be somebody else.
And when the NYPD throws its annual Christmas party in 2017, Valerie tells Isaiah she's going alone.
She went, and around 10 o'clock, she texted me and said, hey, on my way. 10:30 rolls around, 11 o'clock. I'm calling her, texting her, no answer. So I track the phone, and I see that she went a completely different route. She ended up finally coming home and said, oh no, I was dropping a friend off. You're crazy, you're a psychopath. And I was like, there's no way. You never told me about anybody that lived over there. She ended up proceeding upstairs into the bedroom, slammed the door closed, and locked it. Now, my work clothes were in there. So I'm knocking on the door like, hey, I need my work clothes. She told me that if I didn't stop knocking on the door, she was going to shoot me through the door and make it look like an accident. After that happened, we got into an argument. I confronted her again. She swore up and down to me again. I don't want nobody but you. You're the only one for me. Okay, well, if you're not lying to me and nothing happened that night, let me see your phone. If you have nothing to hide, then what's the reason that you can't show it to me? And I went to grab the phone, and she grabbed it, and it fell down and it broke the screen protector. The cops come. She told them that I hit her with a belt and knocked the phone out of her hand. They cuffed me and put me in the back of the car and took me to booking and kept me overnight. The judge granted her a temporary restraining order where we could not fight. I could go back home, but I was not allowed to argue, fight, curse at her, or anything.
The next day, Isaiah comes home early from work, excited to spend some time with his son.
I walk into the house and I'm like, hey Sal, Daddy's home, hey buddy. Because he would usually come running and be like, hey Daddy. And nothing. So I'm like, Sophia? Nothing.
Valerie appears, and after a heated argument, she tells Isaiah that Sal is at a friend's house, and she's on her way to pick him up.
Okay, well, I'll follow you to wherever he is and I'll take him for the day. She got in the car, I followed her a little bit, and all of a sudden, here comes a squad car. And the cops, they told me, well, listen, you know, we had a complaint that you were following her and that she felt threatened, but they ended up arresting me for the second time.
But this time, the judge is less lenient.
He ended up issuing a full stay-away order of protection. So now not only was I not allowed to go into the house or be with my son, everything that I owned and everything that I had was there.
Isaiah moves out and files for divorce, but the consequences are devastating.
The law guardian granted her residential custody instead of giving 50-50 custody. I was not allowed to see my son for 4 months.
And then, there's a ray of hope.
I was working one day and I get a text on my phone that says, you may want to call this guy John, here's his number. He has information that'll help your son with his divorce. So I stopped by and met this guy John Deruba at his house. He opens up his laptop and he starts showing me pictures of my son. And he goes, I'm dating Valerie. I said, you're dating Valerie? He's like, yeah.
part of the motivation for him to come forward, that they were having problems. He just wanted to do the right thing and try to help me to get Sal.
Although John promises to help Isaiah get custody of his son, he never delivers.
He ended up going back and getting back with her. I made an offer for custody of Sal and $50,000 for the renovations I did in the house and the money that I put into the house. She declined my offer, and my lawyers proceeded to say, okay, well, if you decline the offer, we're gonna go after everything.
Isaiah has no idea just how far Valerie will go to keep her money.
All of a sudden, I see this car come speeding down the block and literally skid stop in front of my house. Two guys in suits get out of the car and tell me that, you know, that they're federal officers and to not run, and without even preparing me or breaking it to me slowly, they were like, your wife hired a hitman, she wants to have you killed, and we gotta go fake your death right now.
The FBI learned about the plot to kill Isaiah from a source close to Valerie.
John DeRuba came to the FBI with some recordings that he made of Valerie. He also stated to the FBI that she provided him with $7,000 to give to a hitman to make this happen.
She wanted me dead because she didn't want me to show up to court. She didn't want me to get any money from her.
Valerie also doesn't want to share John DeRuba.
She wanted to have John DeRuba's 14-year-old daughter taken out as well. Right? The reason she said that she wanted to have her taken out was because she was getting in the way.
Now they need to provide proof of Isaiah's death to John DeRuba, who is standing by, in on the plan.
And they took me over to the marina near my house, and they had me sit in my car, and they had me fake my death. They put glass all over me and all over the floor, and they had me hunched into the passenger seat. And they took pictures of me.
The FBI sends this photo to John DeRuba so he could present it to Valerie, and at the time, John DeRuba has a body-worn camera and could record what her reaction was to the photo.
He just texted me.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
John got the text and opened it up and said, oh my God. It's Isaiah. He's dead. It's done. And Valerie went ballistic.
Why would he text you that? Is he stupid?
Oh my God.
Two police officers arrive at Valerie's door and tell her that Isaiah's body was discovered at the marina.
Might have your seat for me, please? I'm sorry to be the one to tell you that Isaiah was found dead.
Are you kidding me?
What Valerie doesn't know is that her house is surrounded by FBI agents. Moments later, Valerie's door is broken down, and she's taken into custody.
When I finally got back to the house and I saw my son, I finally felt like he was safe, he was good, he was finally where he should have been, he was with me.
Valerie claims she never paid for a hitman, and the $7,000 she gave John was just a loan to buy gold. And despite the success of the sting operation, the prosecution has no physical evidence to dispute this. Fearing there's not enough evidence to prove conspiracy to commit murder, the DA chooses to settle.
Valerie took a plea deal for tampering with evidence, and the charges of murder for hire were dismissed. Prosecutors asked for 60 months. The judge gave Valerie 48 months.
It's crazy. You tried to kill my son. You tried to kill somebody else's child. You know, how could you just be in there for 48 months? That's ridiculous.
Right now, it's just a waiting game. You know, I just have to wait and see when she gets out and finalize the divorce and hopefully be able to move on with my son and give him the life that he should always have.